In this video I'm going to tell you about a game called Downtown Chase. The game has not been released yet. This review is based on an early copy, on a prototype, and you will see there are a couple of things here and there that still needs to be polished. The final version will probably look a little bit different and more professional. But I want to clarify one thing. The publisher asked me, hey, do you want to take a look? And it looked like a fun game. Also, they said the magic words, it has a solo mode. And so I wanted to take a look. But so to clarify, this is an unpaid overview / review. I do not do paid previews. I play games and then I tell you what I think, and that's what I do and what I like to do. In Downtown Chase, we take on the role of one of these four characters here, and our mission is to kill that annoying guy that goes by the acronym of JTQ. Bearing that, if we fail to do that, at least we are going to try to beat each other up as much as possible. Basically, if during the game you're able to kill JTQ, you win the game immediately. Other than that, the game, if that is not possible, that doesn't happen, the game lasts for 12 turns, and at the end of the 12th turn, you score points, and you see who has the highest score, and points are earned during the game by attacking each other, and that is the multiplayer version. In the solo version, you control one of those four characters. The other characters come around and still try to attack you, but you're just going to try to dodge them because there are no points scored there, so there's really no reason for you to engage in combat with the other characters. In the solo version, you kill JTQ and you win, or you don't and you lose. There's no other way of winning the game or determining the outcome of the game. And I played the game only in the solitaire version because it's a fairly chaotic game with a lot of cards, a lot of unique effects. I thought that would be a little confusing to play with my daughters who are now 9 and 11. I don't have game night with my adult friends, so I only played the game solitaire. Also, the topic, the tone, the humor seem to be inspired by those video games where you perpetrate the theft of automobiles on a grand scale, and that didn't seem fully appropriate to play with my little young innocent angels. Anyways, this is the board. Again, everything you see in this video is a prototype, so don't hold it against me or especially against the publisher. So the board represents the downtown or the weird city in which people go around throwing grenades and shooting at each other like there's nothing strange about it. Players will control characters such as this one. This is Righteous Jenny. Each character has a board such as this one that tells you the health points, the strength of their punch, their stamina, their move, and a special ability. And then we have JTQ, who starts in the central location of the board. So there are these tracks that we move on, and there are regular spaces that are called fields, and then we have locations. Locations have a colored background, not just a colored edge, a colored background, and a weapon indicated in there. If your character is in a location, not a field, and JTQ is in a field of the same color as that location with the border of the same color, so they would be matching that, then you can attempt to kill them. And so the same would happen if, for example, I'm here in the park with a nice grenade and JTQ happens to be strolling in an area connected to that location. You need to be in the location, he needs to be in a connected field, connected by color, and you need to have a card representing the correct weapon. Then there is a mini game that you play to see if you're able to kill the guy. Now, at the beginning of each turn, he moves. The first 2 turns, players cannot influence the way he moves. Later, effects can be played to influence that. So, you draw a card from this deck here, and that shows you the path that he's gonna walk for the first 2 turns. Again, no way of influencing any of that for the first 2 turns. This is the path that he's gonna walk. The only thing that we don't know yet is the number of spaces. And so the first turn he moves just one space along that path. We take our turn. Turn 2, he moves by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example. And let's say that he moves here, so he's also in the camera. That was not where she was supposed to go. That's more like it. So he moves on this path the first 2 turns. After that, how does he move? Well, there's a little arrow there, as you can see, and so that indicates his orientation. From turn 3, when he moves, you roll 2 dice. One is a directional die and one is a distance die. Basically starts moving by that distance, so 1 out of 5, and when he reaches an intersection, then the direction die tells you where he goes. So 1, 2, 3. I roll the direction die again. 4, 5. Pretty simple. When you play the solo game, the same system, distance plus direction, is used to move the other characters. The characters that in a multiplayer game will be controlled by other players, in the solo game are controlled by the game system. And again, all they do is they go around the board and they try to stop you, but they don't really try. It just so happens because they're moving completely randomly. So after JTQ has gone, then the players take their turns. There is a list of actions that you can take in any order, but 2 actions are pretty universal, meaning you'll probably take them every turn or almost every turn. Other actions are a lot more situational. A super important action is to collect cards. You can collect up to 4 cards per turn, and you take them from these decks: a deck of special interactions, a deck of weapons, and a deck of locations. You cannot take more than 2 cards from a single deck each turn, so I cannot take 4 from here. But suppose I decide to take 2 locations, and then to take a weapon, and then to take a card from here that may give me special effects. Oh, this is almost too lucky, almost like those decks have been prepared. Because right now, look how lucky I am. I have a sniper and a location that requires a sniper. If now JTQ was just so kind to go to the Tesla Tower or the Urban Tower, and I could be there with my nice sniper thingy, wouldn't that be lovely? And again, and then you have these cards that allow you to do a variety of things. When you play solo, this deck is very different. You have to prepare it. It's very different from the deck that you have in the multiplayer game. Now, as an action, or actually as part of your turn, the actions you can do, again, don't forget to draw your cards. You probably want to do that quite a bit. Also, moving, very important. You move up to your movement allowance. If you enter a location that contains an enemy, then there's an enemy meaning another player's figure, or in solo a non-player characters, then there is a fight. If you end your movement in an area, in a field with another player's characters or non-playing characters, there's also a fight. If you're just passing through in multiplayer, then you can choose whether you're going to attack each other or not, or just agree to share the road. In solo, every time you move through somebody, again, fight. The fight, it's basically pretty simple. You roll 2 dice and apply modifiers. You look at the modified result against a table that tells you how many agility points that generates. Whoever has the most agility punches the other player, the other character in the face. So you apply your punch strength to their stamina, and that's how much they lose. And whoever goes to 0 is knocked out. Again, in multiplayer, points or scores based on that. You even score if you get knocked out. I guess there's something heroic about that. But you score a lot more points if you knock them out. And then the player that is knocked out has to go back to a safe house on the edges of the board. So the idea is that it's very dice-based, and you can mitigate the luck by card play, which of course is in turn also very luck-based. You got them or you don't have them. Moving. Other things that you can do as you move, you can enter a location. You can travel by metro. There are some metro cards, and so if you are in a location, then you can travel to the other one by spending the card. However, these metro cards, they just don't match the board in this prototype. I asked a question about that to the publisher, and they say, yeah, we're aware, they're just messed up. Meaning metro yellow, then the stations for from the yellow metro are the dots, the yellow dots are not there. Metro green, the green dots on the board do not match this template. So if you play with a prototype, you have to decide if you're going to follow the color dots on the board or this card because they don't match. But of course, the kind of super mega important action that you want to perform is to try to kill that guy. And suppose that, again, I have the card for that park and I have the grenade to throw in his face. Then when you meet those conditions to try to kill our pesky JTQ, you play a mini game. You play a mini game using this template here. You will play, you look at the card of the weapon that you're using, and there is a template. I'm sure there'll be a lot fancier in the final published version. There's each weapon comes with a polynomial, that's not the right word, but you know what I mean, with a Tetris kind of place that you place on that template in that corner, just like so. Turns out, plot twist, JTQ has a bodyguard. Who knew that? And the bodyguard is represented by those two pieces there. Then you roll a die, you the attacker roll a die, ooh, 6, and you move the template orthogonally towards this area that represents where you're going to be able to hit the guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was pretty lucky. I could have rolled a 1 and then I would have been still pretty far. After you do that, an opponent in multiplayer rolls a die and moves the bodyguard piece orthogonally the same way. And you do that up to 4 times. In solo, this is the element of the game that is not true solo, it's truly multiplayer solo because there are no specific rules on how to move this other than as you're trying your best to put a template on those areas, when you move the bodyguard, you should try your best to block yourself. So there is an element of multiplayer solo as opposed to true solo. After you repeat the procedure up to 4 times, your template may be able to cover some of those numbers. Basically, there's 0 and +1. And in turns, the bodyguard may be covering some of those. Then, basically, if it doesn't cover any number that is not blocked by the bodyguard, then your attack against JTQ is impossible. If some numbers are still visible, then you will use those as modifiers. Again, generate a random number, apply abilities, apply skills, and pretty much there is another random fest in which you determine if your attacker is better than, if your attack value after it is said and done, modifiers are applied from all sources, if your attack value is better than the defense value. If that is the case, you win the game. Hooray. So what I can tell you now about the game as a general assessment is it seems to have potential. It seems like if I was playing the game with adult friends and, you know, maybe it's the second game of the night when people don't feel like being into heavy strategy and using a lot of their brain power, and maybe there's a level of intoxication around the room, I think this could be a fun game, but not a deep game, not a strategic game. The randomness is massive at every level. There are times where you roll a die to determine what modifier you will have, like, you know, almost like Kozo Danshai kind of thing. Yeah, and the lag is massive, and I almost feel like this is a game really as a platform for social interaction, as an opportunity for banter. I think, again, if you're not taking the game seriously, it's the right moment, the right crowd, it can be really fun to make an alliance with somebody. Hey, I'm gonna let you pass through my piece, and so you don't have any problem, and then you backstab them. You play a card, you tell them, oh, we should go there, but then you play a card that moves JTQ somewhere else entirely. There are such cards. I think as an opportunity to just hang out and play a really chaotic, messy, heavily random based, I'm very trashy kind of game, there's a place and a time for that. I think it could be fun. I'm not gonna be able to do that anytime soon until we have any clarity about the Delta variant and about the pandemic. And so all I can tell you is I think it may work that way. But again, even this, I hope I'm providing with some information about how much strategy is involved, not much, and how much luck is involved, a lot, and how much fun there can be. There can be some interesting social interactions. As a solitaire game, it really didn't work for me. There was a game in which I just ran after JTQ the entire game, and I was never in the position of doing anything because I didn't have the right cards. If I had the right cards, I didn't have the right location. I almost had it, and then there was a random event that moved in somewhere else entirely. And basically some of those cards that will give you cool stuff to do against the player in multiplayer, they form an event deck during in solo, and they're used against you. I think that's a great idea, but just the implementation is such that the game feels entirely random. Again, there was another time that I did catch him and I just kept rolling one on that template, so I couldn't even get close to that location. And there was another time that I caught him and right away, and I rolled 2 6s early on, able to play the template. So it's not, the problem is that whether I lost or won, I didn't feel that my strategy had really anything to do with it. I didn't think, oh, if I try differently, I'm gonna have better luck at doing this or doing that. The general idea seems promising. It's, a set collection game basically, but with such a random element as to what sets will be useful, if at all, in each game and when, that you had this Eurogame mechanic of the set collection in a completely chaotic scenario. And so if you're planning to play the game just for solitaire, and there are people that consider game just for solitaire, I mean, that was my main draw towards this design, it doesn't work for me at all. I don't think there is really a lot here for the solo play. Again, unless you just want to see these people go around and blowing stuff up. As a multiplayer, more like a party game than a strategy game, I think that it may have merit. And this is my review, or maybe more, that was quick, or maybe more like overview of Downtown Chase based on the prototype. And again, I think it can be fun in the right situation, in the right circumstances. But these days, I'm just not going to be in those circumstances because I don't have game night yet.